Alright guys, we are back. We got the Datamines here for Choose Your Legends 8. So lots and lots of information, particularly regarding Final Boss Man. What's his name? Laeradr? or Laeradr, I think is how you say that. But, I mean, it's spelt Laeradr right there. So, I mean, that's what I'm going to call him. Laeradr. It sounds pretty funny. So we have his full artwork. We have his weapon effect and all that stuff. We've got Hall of Forms info. We got the stats for the new Brave Heroes as well as their Boons and Banes, and then inheritance restrictions, Panette's weapon, all that good stuff. So let's start things off with Hall of Forms as we usually do. Let's make this a bit bigger here. So these are going to be the Hall of Forms units for this round. We are in Jugdral territory here. So we have Legendary Seliph, Legendary Sigurd, Legendary Deirdre, and then Arthur, or Random Arthur, amongst 3 Legendary Heroes. Now, these aren't the worst Legendary Heroes. Like, they're definitely a lot better than some of the past Legendary Heroes we've been getting. Sigurd, in particular, is just never going to age out, I think. Like, his special is always going to be good, regardless of how far power creep goes. Giving your whole team +1 movement is just very good. And he himself, he can still, like, take out something. Like, you could have him attack an Attune Micaiah, he can kill her, and then just give the whole party +1 movement in the process. He can definitely kill, like, what's her face? Emblem Celica, he can get rid of her. So it's not like, even though his damage, of course, has fallen off a cliff, it's not like he's incapable of killing anything, right? Like, he can certainly find units that are common that he'd be able to take out and still provide +1 movement to the team. Seliph had a brief moment where he was one of the best tanks in the game, but, I mean, considering where we are right now with how many units have been gaining, like, damage reduction piercing or straight up damage reduction nullification. Unfortunately, him having a ton of pierceable DR is not really working too many wonders for him right now. And then, of course, Legendary Deirdre, who has built-in Miracle. That's always going to be useful as well. So, even though her damage and tanking has fallen off a cliff, she still has that Miracle to fall back on, so that's not too shabby. These 3 are not bad. Like, if you don't have a copy of them at all, it's not the worst idea to pick a copy of them up just for, like, arena mode. Whenever they run as bonus heroes, you can just run them on the team to score a little better. So, yeah, it's always good when they put these legendary heroes in Hall of Forms, so that's nice for the people that want to build them up. Okay, next up, alright, we have Panette's weapon there. I don't want to talk about that yet. We'll save that for later. Let's talk about Laeradr next, or Laeradr is how you say it, I think. I don't know. Final Boss Man, I am Groot right here, half man. Alright, so this is his neutral artwork. He's got a Yggdrasil pin on his pant leg there, which is pretty cool. Alright, here he is with the I am God pose. Alright, yeah, this dude really thinks very highly of himself, doesn't he? Oh, that's sick. That's pretty fire art right there. With the hand morphing into, like, some kind of weapon. Yeah, that looks fire. That's dope. Alright, then, once again, with the I am God pose. Yeah, this dude, oh man, someone is definitely going to like this guy, for sure. Okay, so there we go for Laeradr's artwork. Now let's go ahead and take a look at his weapon effect and all that stuff. Okay, so he's going to be on the new map that we fight in the story. So, he's a colorless beast armor type. Interesting. I didn't think he'd be armored. Actually, I don't even know what I thought he'd be, but I didn't think he'd be armored, if we could put it one way. Alright, so his stat line, we got 53 HP, 67 attack, 18 speed, 48 defense, and 53 res. Take this with a grain of salt because these are map stats. These aren't going to be his actual summonable stats. But from what we can gather here, looks like he's got a lot of attack, dump on speed, and then lots of defense and res. Res is higher than defense for him, so that could be good with, like, scowl effects and things like that, even though you can't give him scowl in particular, but just good information to know. Okay, so his weapon here, -1 special trigger. At the start of turn, if his HP is over 25%, he inflicts defensive res -7, panic and sabotage on the closest foes and any foes in 2 spaces of those foes through the next actions, and inflicts assigned decoy and a status preventing counterattacks on the foes with the lowest defense with a range of 1 and foes with the lowest defense with a range of 2. Among the closest foes and any foes in 2 spaces of those foes through the next actions. That is crazy. Wow. Okay, so Assign Decoy basically forces Savior onto these enemies. So the lowest defense enemy with 1 range and the lowest defense enemy with 2 range. Basically, this means that the enemy is not going to be able to protect those units with save skills, and you can just snipe them. So, if you're attacking and you want to get rid of their glass cannon units first, you can do that with this. You can just, like, bypass any saves and just go right at them. That's pretty interesting. That's a really interesting effect, especially for an armored unit to have that. That's pretty cool. Okay, then also at the start of combat, if his HP is over 25%, inflicts a penalty on the enemy's attack and defense equal to 20% of his res at the start of combat, plus 6, and then grants special cooldown count -2 to himself before his first attack, before the foe's first attack, rather, and reduce damage from foes' attacks by 20% of res during combat. Oh my god. And also, if foe's attack triggers foe's special, reduce damage from foe's attack by 20% of his res during combat and recovers 7 HP. Wow. Attack and defense reduction by 20% of his res plus 6, and then also 20% true DR based on his res and 20% true DR based on res on enemy specials. Yeah, so basically that new guard skill from Alphonse is going to go hard on this guy, ain't it? That's probably what you want to give him. Alright, then also at the start of turn, if he's adjacent to only beasts or dragons or nobody, then he transforms and gets attack up 2 and distant counter. So, typical armored beast transformation. Oh, and this is his final form, by the way. Or maybe it's not. Maybe this is not even his final form. But he is Groot, basically. I am Groot. There he is. Okay, so there we go for Laeradr. That is very funny. It looks like his head is photoshopped onto Groot's body. that is very comical. Okay. Alright, sure, Laeradr. Okay, next up, let's take a look at the Choose Your Legend stats. And then, of course, we're going to finish up by taking a look at Panette's weapon and seeing how good she is. So, of course, Choose Your Legends, one thing about this is that they always introduce brand new BST creep. So, these units are going to have higher BST than what we've been seeing before. So, Alphonse's stats, we've got 41 HP, we got 46 attack, we have 16 speed, 47 defense, and then 40 res for him. So, as far as BST is concerned, that gives him alright, a grand total of 190, which is higher for these melee calves than we've seen before. And then for his boons and banes, let's take a look. Alright, I believe that's minus HP. He's got plus attack, which is good. Alright, nothing on speed. Nothing on defense, unfortunately. And then plus res. Okay, so at least he's got 2 super boons and 2 relevant stats. I would probably say, yeah, you want to go plus res on him as opposed to plus defense, because his defense is already significantly higher than res anyway. So, like, plus attack, plus res seems fine. Maybe even plus HP if you want to go for that instead of attack. Basically, just build him like a tank and he should be good to go. So, I personally think Alphonse is the best out of the batch. His ability to just give, like, true stat bonuses as a status support effect is pretty crazy. And he just does it at the start of every turn, too. So, like, even if you're not able to attack with him and trigger his special, which that's going to be unheard of, because he has 4 mobility. He can just move in and attack something. Then he's got Kanto far, so he can get out of the way as well. It's going to be real easy for this guy to just be buffing stats for your whole party, and permanent stat buffs, too. They can't do anything about it. They can't remove it. They can't steal it. They can't do nothing. So that's going to go hard, especially with units that already have true percentages. Like, for true defense-based or, like, true res-based DR effects on units like Haithrun and Laeradr, as we just looked at, that's going to go hard. Like, they're just getting visible stats for free out of Alphonse. So he's going to be a menace. This guy, definitely watch out for him. Okay, let's take a look at Bernadetta up next. Bernie Bear. Okay, so her stat line, we've got here 40 HP. Okay, 45 attack. We got 48 speed. We've got 24 defense and then 28 res. So for her, that gives her a BST of... Alright, 185, which seems to check out. Okay, so then for Boons and Banes on Bernie, you got minus HP, of course. Not plus attack, that's unfortunate, because she is a brave attack unit. That would have been good for her. All right, we got plus speed, though. Okay. All right, anything else besides speed? Let's see. Looks like plus defense as well. Okay. All right, then for res, we have minus res. Unfortunate, but okay, plus speed, plus defense on Bernie. Surprised they didn't give her plus attack, but I guess it is what it is. I think Bernie is good, right? Like, for sure, she's definitely good. She can brave attack. She can instant desperation. She can set up allies by chipping their HP. She also gives allies desperation and vantage support, as well as attack up 5 in combat, which can be certainly played to your advantage. There's not a lot of ways to get Hardy Bearing right now. There's just one Hardy Bearing seal and one, like, quote-unquote viable unit, Legendary Lulina, who has Hardy Bearing built in. Nobody else really has Hardy Bearing right now. So, particularly in, like, SDS, where they can veto your stuff. If they veto your team that has Hardy Bearing, and they veto your Legendary Lulina, and you're left to deal with Bernadetta, things could get annoying real quick, right? For sure. But she's the only one here out of all the Choose Your Legends units that has a clear weakness, which, again, like I said, is Hardy Bearing, which they may be including onto more weapons and more characters in the future. So just keep that in mind, but I do think she's definitely good, and also she has that effect where she can reflect any start-of-turn penalties on herself to all the enemies, which is pretty dirty. So, like, that's going to be, like, one of the things that definitely keeps her usable and useful for quite some time. All right, let's go ahead and move on to Felix up next. Now, I think Felix is probably in second place for me, right behind Alphonse. He might even be better. It depends. We have to, like, playtest things and really see. But, all right, let's take a look at Felix's stat line here. We've got 40 HP. We got 47 attack, 48 speed. I believe that's actually the highest. Or that might tie with, like, one of the Freyas or something. I'd have to double check. All right, then we got 35 defense and then 29 res. So we add that all up, and we get a all-around BST of 199. Oh, I thought he was going to have 198. They gave him one extra just for good measure. Okay, sure. So 199 BST, that is 6 points higher, but probably going to be 5 points higher for most units from what we have currently for infantry melee. So that's definitely good. And as far as boons and banes go for Felix, let's see here. All right, minus HP. Nothing on attack. Plus speed. Oh, my God. Yeah, he's possibly the fastest unit in the game. I'd have to, like, run some calcs on that, but I think he might be the fastest unit. All right, defense is nothing. No super boons or banes. And then res, we have a super bane on res. So his only boon is plus speed, but I guess that's fine enough, right? Because he's getting 20% of his speed as true damage and then 15% of his speed as all stat bonuses as well. So this man is going to be crazy. What I think is really insane about him is that he can move 3 spaces, and then after he ends his turn, he just gets to move again. So he like basically self-dances himself. He's going to be very annoying to deal with because of that in like Summoner Duel's defense, or Aether Raid's defense, and then also in Arena mode. If the enemies have this guy on the team, if they have Celica Ring on him as well, he could just move 3, end his turn, and then with Celica Ring, all of a sudden now he's moving 4. He can warp, and then he can bypass obstacles. It's going to be real easy for him to get at your units. So be very cautious about this Felix, and also maybe have like some kind of near saver that can deal with him, but I think even that's going to be tough, because of course he has attack and speed XL, and then he's getting a lot of true DR on his B skill and stuff like that. He also has Gust with -2 cooldown. So yeah, seems like he's going to be a very annoying unit to deal with. Okay, and then finally we have Robin, who's probably the most interesting unit on the banner as far as like what she's doing, where she can set up Divine Vein Ice. A very unique and different effect than what we've been seeing so far in the game. Alright, so Robin has 40 HP. We got 45 attack, 47 speed, 30 defense, and then 26 res for Robin. So that gives her a BST of 188 overall, which is fine for Infantry Tome. And then Boons and Banes for Robin, we got minus HP. No plus attack, unfortunate, but plus speed, though. Okay, nothing on... Actually, minus defense, and then plus res there, okay. I don't think plus res really matters much for her with 26 res, but she's got double super boons at least. Okay, so there we go with Robin. Like I said, Divine Vein Ice is going to be very interesting. It's not really something we've had to mess around with before, where you can just set up a blockade of ice tiles that the enemies cannot warp through, or... No, they can warp through it, but they can't move through it with regular movement, so that should be interesting. Certainly it's handy against a unit like Celica, where she can warp and then attack from 2 spaces away. Because Robin sets the ice tiles up 2 spaces away from her, range units would not be able to attack her that easily. They would have to first break the ice tile before they'd be able to do that. So, depending on how you set up your Robin, like if you have her move in and then set up the ice tiles, and then right behind her you have like a near save unit, you can really wall out the enemies and keep them at bay for a little bit. So, I think that should be interesting, but we're going to need to play around with it and see like how effective it actually is. Otherwise, she is a very good debuffer. She has Hush Spectrum with unlimited range on her B skill, and then also she's an insane damage dealer too. She's getting, what, 25 points of true damage on her B skill and 15 points of DR. So yeah, quite a crazy B skill on this unit. Her weapon wasn't that crazy though, but her B skill really carries hard, and then her C skill seems like it's going to be a good inheritable. Okay, finally, let's take a look at apparently the winner of CYL8, Panette, who everybody is very happy about. Even I'm happy about Panette because, I mean, more engaged characters need to be added to the game. So, 49 HP, that's pretty titanic. We got 48 attack there, 41 speed, 35 defense, and then 24 res. So, she should have the brand new BST for melee types, considering she is part of the new batch. So 49 HP, 48 attack, 41 speed, 35 defense, and then 24 res. So 197, okay. She's shy of... Yeah, she's actually 2 points behind Felix. That's interesting. Okay, but it is what it is. She is high enough that she'll get into the 200 bin with a boon. And she has a perf weapon as well, so that's good. Alright, and then for Boons and Banes on Panette, let's see here. Okay, nothing on HP, which would have been interesting, right? Because this is a really high HP stat. We don't see that too often anymore. Alright, she has plus attack, which is probably good. Gotta see what her weapon does first, though. We also have plus speed, even though I'm not sure what you're going to be doing with her speed just at the moment. Alright, nothing on defense, and then plus res as well. Wow. Okay, triple super boons on Panette. That's cool. Yeah, her speed is not useless. Like, you see 41 speed, you think, oh, that's, like, how many points behind Felix? That's, like, 7 points behind him. But, keep in mind, you can run Frozen. Like, she's probably going to be a good unit to take advantage of Frozen effects where it's hard for the enemies to double her. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at her weapon. Let's see what Panette is cooking up here. Okay, Berserker Axe, 16 might, 1 range, -1 special trigger. At the start of turn, for unit and allies in 2 spaces a unit, if special cooldown count is at its max value, grant special cooldown count -1. Okay, so she's just a free asker, essentially. That's good. What I say, like earlier, about this never aging out, this is an effect that is always going to be good forever. Alright, then also, if foe initiates combat or the foe's HP is over 75% at the start of combat, grants a bonus to all of unit stats equal to 25% of the foe's attack at the start of combat, -4, with a max of 14 and a min of 5. And then the unit makes a guaranteed follow-up, deals damage equal to damage dealt to unit, with a max of 30. Oh, wow. So she has, like, Vengeance built in, excluding on AoEs, and deals damage equal to 15% of units attacked during combat, excluding on AoE specials. That's very interesting. So that makes sense why she has such a high HP stat then. She wants to get hurt and then do a lot of damage. That's similar to how people were playing her in Engage, right? Like, they would build her as a Berserker and then just get her low on HP and have her, like, body the enemies with essentially a million crits she gets out of Wrath and stuff like that. So, yeah, it seems pretty interesting for a GHB. I would definitely say she could be worth building. Okay, then we have Dragon Fang as her special, and we saw this already in the Fate channel. Fire Boost 3 and then Panic Smoke 3. Could be better, but Panic Smoke 3 is not the worst for fodder. Neither is Fire Boost, honestly. Like, you can use this to get Firestorm Boost or... What's the other one? Water Flood Boost, and like all the split boost level 3s, the gold border ones are pretty solid. Okay, then Creation Pulse. So this should probably be infantry only. Let's take a look here. Yeah, it's Times Pulse 3 is the prerequisite, and it's infantry only. All weapon types as well, tomes and melee. Yeah, this is a very degenerate special, or degenerate C skill, because you could use this to special ramp into quite a lot of stuff here. If your attack can trigger your special, then you just get minus X cooldown based on the number of penalties active on the foe, which is very easy to do in this era. You just get penalties on the enemies at any moment you want. So you can probably guarantee you're going to get the -2 there. Considering this on a unit like Felix, where he's already got -2 special CD raw, and then he could just get a further -2 if he wanted to. I don't know if you want to take out his C skill, though, to get his +1 movement. Unless you're running him with, like, I-Green to get +1 movement. But, yeah, very interesting stuff there. Okay, so Endless Tempest, this should all... Oh, wow. Wait a minute. This is also... This is Infantry and Flyer as well. Wait, Flyer's got Tempest skills, right? I think. I'm pretty sure they did, but I can't remember. Okay, so Flyers and also... Yeah, Flyers definitely did, because I remember I gave it to one of my flying melee dancers, so they could move 3 spots. So, Infantry and Flyer, and also looks like melee only for Endless Tempest. Okay. This is a pretty good C skill, by the way. It gives you +1 movement, and then also possibly all stats up 3, and then nullification of enemy bonuses. So, this would definitely be in line, in contention with stuff like Attack Speed Pledge, Attack Speed Oath, and... Attack Speed Incited, things like that. I think this is on that same level. Maybe even better with the +1 movement. Alright, then we have Curve Shot, which should be bows only, and yes, it is. So, pretty much bows and all movement types, which is good. So, every bow unit can get this, including your armored bows and anything else. Moonbow is the prerequisite for this, so there you go. And then finally, Alpha. This dude is the king of fodder. They just gave him everything. So, Fortification, let's see here. Yeah, requires Fortress Def Res 2, and then it is available to everybody, pretty much. Let's see here, yeah. Well, not everybody, but Sword, Lance, Axes. Bows and Daggers can't get it, which is interesting. Tomes can't get it, but then Dragons and Beasts can get it. Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, I guess that makes sense, because it has distant counter built in, right? No, well, it just has, like, distant or close counter, but in this case, distant, because none of the ranged units can get it. Alright, that's kind of an L a little bit. I was hoping that ranged units would be able to get it too, but I guess it is what it is, because they want you to initiate with this, so, like, it would be a lot easier to initiate with ranged units than melee, so that's why they probably did that. Alright, and then reopening, this is basically like Lagoo's friend for everybody, as opposed to infantry only. Guard 3 is the prerequisite, which is very easy to get, and then no movement type, no movement type restrictions, but then we have weapon restrictions here, so looks like the same exact thing as his A skill, right? Like the same restrictions, so sword, lance, axes, and beasts and dragons pretty much. No ranged units are able to use it. Yeah, well, the key thing here is that this is Lagoo's friend for your armored units and your cavalry units and flying units. So just keep that in mind. Very, very powerful B skill. And that looks like everything there. So we'll go ahead and do a quick refresh. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Oh, we have a new customization pack as well. Let's take a look at that. And it looks like that's the last thing we have to check out here. So, customization pack, we're getting a new background here, and also for $8.99 or $9 US, you get 22 orbs, and then you get this. Oh, this is a nice one, actually. This one looks pretty good. Yeah, this is the summer festival from, I believe this was from Fates. I think this is a Fates icon there on the jar. It looks like Fates. If you know that this is from Fates, then let me know, because I've never played, so I can't tell. But it does look like it. So, nice background there. Let me know your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section down below, and I will be summoning later. I don't have very many orbs to go in with, but whatever I've got, I'll just summon with that and hope for the best. So, this is your boy Tacho signing out, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll catch y'all again on the flip side.